extraordinary President Joe Biden. And he's going to speak in a minute, but there's a lot of love in this room for our president.
Because when we think about the strength of our democracy, you know, I think that there's a duality to the nature of democracy. When it's intact, oh, it's so strong in terms of what it does to uphold and protect individual rights and freedoms. So strong in its nature. And it's very fragile. It will only be as strong as our willingness to fight for it.
So the United States shares a very important relationship, which is an alliance with the Republic of North Korea. And it is an alliance that is strong and enduring. You know, we have to stay woke. Like, everybody needs to be woke. And you can talk about if you're the wokest or woker, but just stay more woke than less woke.
Yeah. Never let anyone take your joy from you. I call myself a joyful warrior. Right? Never let anyone take your joy from you. You do what you gotta do. And isn't that a wonderful way to live? To know you have purpose.
So you're now no longer are you necessarily keeping those private files in some file cabinet that's locked in the basement of the house. It's on your laptop, and it's then therefore up here in this cloud that exists above us, right? Mm-hmm. It's no longer in a physical place.
Okay.
It's being delivered
and
tomorrow.
So just little 1 minute out. I have 1 minute.
Yeah.
Kosher salt, fresh ground pepper, maybe chop up a little thyme, and then you can mix it even with. Okay, so do the salt and pepper all over it, like lather that baby up, right? With on the outside in the cavity. You could also chop up, but not with the thyme, just the salt and pepper. Mm-hmm. Mix that up also with some thyme. You could even do a little rosemary if you want. Under the skin with some butter before you're going to cook it. Uh-huh. So that butter will just melt in there. And then get a nice big bottle of cheap white wine to baste with butter. Yes, hi. Who doesn't love a yellow school bus, right? Can you raise your hand if you love a yellow school bus, right? Just, there's something about and most of us, many of us went to school on the yellow school bus, right? And it's part of our experience growing up. It's part of, a nostalgia and a memory of the excitement and joy of going to school, to be with your favorite teacher, to be with your best friends, and to learn. The school bus takes us there.
And hey guys, before we get started, all I ask is that you take a second, hit the like button. Thank you so much for subscribing to the channel and sharing these videos with your friends. All right, let's jump in. These clips are not AI generated. They're all real and they all share a very common theme. The fact that many believe that Kamala Harris is drunk in each one of them. It's either she's drunk or she's stoned. Some people, I can't really tell. Something's off though. Some suggest that she's just dumb and that she's just going off script within these scenarios. It could be that too. Maybe she's just not all that smart. But whatever the case may be, it's just not a good look, especially when you're running for the president of the United States. And it's not like this happened just one time. These clips, they're all from different events. And it's pretty clear that there's a pattern here. She keeps repeating the same lines, but she acts as if it's the first time that she's saying it. They're like catchphrases now because she's basically said the same thing so many different times. It's like that one saying, old habits die hard.
And God bless you. Do we believe in the promise of America? And are we ready to fight for it? And when we fight, we win.
Before I was elected vice president, before I was elected United States Senator, I was elected Attorney General of the state of California, and I was a courtroom prosecutor before then. And in those roles, I took on perpetrators of all kinds.
predators who abused women, fraudsters who ripped off consumers, cheaters who broke the rules for their own gain. So hear me when I say, I know Donald Trump's type.
Before I was elected as vice president, before I was elected as United States Senator, I was the elected Attorney General, as I've mentioned, of California. And before that, I was a courtroom prosecutor. In those roles, I took on perpetrators of all kinds. Predators who abused women, fraudsters who ripped off consumers, cheaters who broke the rules for their own gain. So hear me when I say, I know Donald Trump's type. So ultimately, to all the friends here, I say, in this election, we know we each face a question: what kind of country do we want to live in? A country of freedom, compassion, and rule of law?
Yes!
Or a country of chaos, fear, and hate?
No!
So Wisconsin, ultimately in this election, we each face a question. What kind of country do we want to live in? A country and to your point, do we want to live in a country of freedom, compassion, and rule of law, or a country of chaos, fear, and hate?
So in the next 106 days, we have work to do. We have doors to knock on. We have people to talk to. We have phone calls to make. And we have an election to win.
The next 105 days, then we have work to do. We have doors to knock on. We have phone calls to make. We have voters to register. And we have an election to win.
No wonder she's trying to avoid so many interviews, right? She probably doesn't have any new material. And if she goes off the cuff, well, things just end badly because she would sound like a drunkard. I believe the last time that Kamala Harris got interviewed for real was when she was asked about going to the border. And to Lester Holt's credit, he actually asked her an actual question. And ever since then, Kamala Harris has been ducking the media simply because she just doesn't want to repeat what already happened here.
Do you have any plans to visit the border?
At some point, we are going to the border. We've been to the border. So this whole thing about the border, we've been to the border. We've been to the border.
You haven't been to the border.
And I haven't been to Europe. And I don't understand the point that you're making.
And now it's been almost a month since Harris was handpicked to become the presidential nominee for the Democratic Party. But since that time, the VP has not held a single press conference where she could be asked questions. She also has not had a sit-down interview with pretty much any news outlet during this period. It's really hard not to compare her with former President Donald Trump, as he and JD Vance were out there answering questions left and right, questions that the American people are asking. In fact, since August 6th, Donald Trump has answered almost 100 questions in different pressers and interviews. Harris's communication director, Michael Tyler, was asked directly about this. CNN anchor Jim Acosta flat out said this: "Would it kill you guys to do one?" Basically alluding to a possible interview. And much like Harris, Tyler just pretty much laughed at the idea. After which he said this: "We will commit to directly engage with the voters who are actually going to decide this election. And that this is going to be complete with rallies, with sit-down interviews, and with press conferences, with all the digital assets that we have at our disposal." But here's the best part, guys. Supporters of Harris are saying that she doesn't need to do any of this. Screw what the American people want, right? Former Obama administration ambassador to Russia, Michael McFaul, he argued that if a press conference won't help Harris win, then she shouldn't do it. And that Harris has no moral obligation to talk to the press. But what about her moral obligation to the American people? And yet she still wants the American people's vote. And it's pretty apparent that not many people are happy with the VP. Now guys, I did a previous video where I covered the protests that were going on during the DNC. Man, things got pretty heated over there, so make sure you guys check that video out after this one. As always, Thanks so much for being here. I really appreciate you guys hitting the like button, for sharing this video, and for subscribing. See you next time.